I want to introduce a new series called the Seduction series. Seduction is a superpower. It is the power of influence and enchantment too. It's like we go under the spell of something or someone. Its effect is subtle and also insidious, so we might miss its hold over us, but it has the power to hold us tightly in its grip. We usually think of seduction between a man and a woman, but actually it's everywhere in our lives. It permeates our culture, it's in advertising, in marketing, in politics. It's the same casting of a spell, luring someone towards you with power. But I want to talk about an unconventional way of looking at seduction. It's not just people or marketing on the outside of us, but the inside. Our emotions, for instance, our moods, our thoughts and feelings, our attitudes and our habits, like anger, disappointment, despair, even self-absorption like narcissism. They suck us in and blindly seduce us for long periods of time. And I want to emphasize here that such is the power of negativity, all negativity. It's a dark energy, like a black hole where we disappear into, and it robs us of the possibility of getting out of it. My point is that we allow ourselves to be sucked in by a strong force that we feel we cannot resist. Yet, we are co-creators in this force, and we are co-creators of our happiness. Then why do we do this? Simply because we don't know we have another choice. The purpose of this series is to learn ways to see through the gloom to the other side where hope lives. There is a win we really want to get to. That is its purpose. Life always gives us a win in every challenging, stressful situation. It's our job to find it. So, through this series, let's explore the real reason underneath our attraction to these unpleasant emotions, why we allow ourselves to stay in the dark, and let's explore the journey to the other side of the rainbow, shall we?
Join spiritual psychologist and India's #1 biofeedback practitioner, Ritu Malhotra, as she guides you through the paths of self-discovery and personal transformation so that you can live in alignment with your values and purpose. You are listening to the Cellular Alchemist podcast, and here's your host, Ritu Malhotra.
Let's start with a common social norm. It's not good to be angry. That's what everyone says. More than that, it's not good to show that you're angry. In this podcast, how about if we look at the opposite? Is it okay to be angry? Very simply, yes. After all, anger, like all else, is an emotion. And it's there, and it will surface from time to time. That's the truth. The real question is, how do we use the anger when we feel it? Because, like all other emotions, anger has a constructive and a destructive side. When we feel brave, on the other side, we can be threatened too. If we are feeling productive, you can be sure that there are moments that we feel defeat as well. So, how can anger be useful? How can we make it work for us and not against us? Anger can be very seductive. It's like a temptress, and it's an extremely powerful emotion. It seduces us with promises, telling us that, if you get angry, then you will be in control. And we can always justify our stand, isn't it? Yet, how often do we find that it doesn't work out the way we thought it would? Actually, it leaves us further from our goals and creates more damage in the process. That's what I've found. But it's so familiar to us that we feel that we know how to use it effectively. We feel we're right in being angry. We righteously say to ourselves, well, how can I not be angry after what they've done to me? Now, of course, there are places where anger is necessary. When someone has been denied a basic right, or when someone has been abused. So at times it is needed to bring about change. But what's the biggest impediment to change? The ego, ego. The ego gets angry when it's denied anything, even something as small as someone cutting a line ahead of us, and we shout, "It's not fair." The ego has a strong reaction because, by its very nature, it feels entitled. We feel we deserve something and that the other is denying that to us. Like, say, when I have hired someone to do a job and they don't do it as promised, I may feel that I'm entitled to show my anger. Isn't it? And I'm sure that we all have gone through many situations like this. But let's look at it another way. Interestingly, the Gita talks about anger as an emotion closest to attachment. When we become attached to a certain outcome, then there are two ways to go. Either that outcome is fulfilled or it won't be fulfilled. Even when it is fulfilled, it doesn't end there. The Gita says that it turns into lust after that. We want more. Then lust turns into greed. And we want more and more and more. And when it is dissatisfied, it becomes anger, even explosive. And that's why the ego is at play. It plays us. So let's see what would have been a more helpful response. Like getting to a place where we can still feel our anger, but it doesn't have to run our whole life. I think the place to start is by acknowledging the emotion. Even though we really want to justify and hurt another that has hurt us, the answer lies in acceptance. Acknowledge the anger without the need to say, "I'm angry because dot 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 dot," without passing any judgment on it. By simply acknowledging, we bring down the temperature and the explosive nature of that anger. The negative charge is reduced. Then we can go to the real cause, which underlies the anger. For instance, I have paid someone to build my wall, and he has used bad materials. So I not only get angry, but I feel let down, I feel disappointed, and I could get bitter. But it shows on the surface as anger. We all know that, right? An antidote to anger is a knowing that there is another side, an opposite side to the anger. And that is my real point here of this podcast. The opposite side is that there is a willingness to be receptive to another alternative, a willingness to feel adequate to make a change and move away from the anger. Because we know how destructive it is. However impossible it may seem at that moment, we can motivate ourselves towards affection instead of the hysteria of that anger. And the most fascinating learning that this universe has given us is that always, 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 this universe gives us both the positive and the negative sides of everything. When we are unaware of this, we can't see another option. But it's always there, always. So why not choose a healthier, less stressful, and positive winning emotion? Why not move towards encouraging oneself, towards feeling refreshed, for instance? Because there's value in feeling the pride that comes when we express positivity. It's a peaceful and fulfilling state to be in. Why not give it to yourself? Try it. There's nothing to lose.
That was this week's episode for the Cellular Alchemist podcast with spiritual psychologist Ritu Malhotra. Don't forget to follow the podcast on your listening app so that when the new episode drops, you do not miss out on the chance to change your life by changing your beliefs.